It's me, your boy Squiddy, back again on another video. Today we have a Floowandereeze versus Kashtira. This is a top 32 of the YCS Japan that actually happened over the weekend. This is the best of one tournament, actually. So there's actually no side decking, just one game. So we see a lot of decks. Tears are still the best deck in the OCG, but lately we've been seeing like these decks that are more safer in a best of one game state, just because like Tears, obviously you can just get shut out by like one Floowandereeze or like one D-shifter and just lose a game. So yeah, we're gonna see this pot of duality fired off for the Flunder player who goes first into the pot of prosperity. Probably trying to dig for, I guess, an engine starter now. Like a lot of times this deck does actually brick. So, you know, the pots actually help a lot there. And Pot of Prosperity is actually a 2 in the OCG, so it is a very powerful card that was quickly semi-limited because people realized the power level of the card. So, yeah, we're probably going to see this go off for a Banish 6 here, just to search probably for either like a Rubina, Eaglin, or like anything that could help maybe push through the play. So maybe they're looking for like a quick play spell, Floowandereeze and the Unexplored Winds, just for safety against something like an Imperm or like a Effect Veiler. So yeah, we're gonna see this go off for 6. And it's really interesting. I'm not actually sure how many players entered this tournament. Usually they have quite a large number, like a couple hundred, I think, entered the last one. I think there was over 1,000 in the first one as well. It's really interesting that they decided to make it best of one again. It's just like kind of crazy because given how the game can be just so RNG reliant, sometimes it's not great. And this is a one-day event as well. I guess they just wanted to slot it into one span of one day as opposed to the entire weekend. Oh wow, we actually see the Samorg field spell as well. So they're playing the Samorg engine. Of course, the Samorg, the baby bird, allows you to normal summon it when you normal summon a winged beast monster, and then it allows you to foolish another copy of itself to search for that spell card, the field spell. And I believe the field spell lets you tribute summon a winged beast as well. He's gonna add the Rubina, so that's what he's looking for. And this should be full combo unimpeded. I actually haven't, I was watching some of these games like on the stream during the weekend, and I actually didn't see a lot of tier limits. I think in the best of one game state, it's just not very good because the deck, obviously being the best deck, a lot of people are playing decks to counter it, and then it does lose. It doesn't have a lot of main deck outs to things like the shifter or like, you know, like the Kashtira boards, so they do have to side deck in order to beat it. It's usually how it is in the game. Like, you know, the best deck is always like hated out by a lot of things in the format, like floodgates and whatnot, and then you just side cards to beat it. But in like a engine to engine, obviously like tier limits would always win because your engine's so much bigger, so much higher ceiling. Rubina is gonna add Eaglin effect. Gonna go ahead and see that go through, probably for an M-Pen here. Kashtira. Tributes both, M-Pen's effect. Gonna chain Rubina. Keep that England banished just because it's good to chain block later on. It's also very useful if you're playing against tier elements to have those banished so you can play around Heaviness, because Heaviness has to chain to the monster effect on the board directly, because it is a win effect. So it's like when your opponent's monster effect activates, you can special summon this card from your hand. So if they chain a card in the banish zone, then they cannot Heaviness. Can add back the Rubina as well as a copy of the trap card, Dreaming Town. So we have some disruption. And I'm actually not sure what the matchup is like for the... Oh wow, he actually just sets and passes. So I think he has, I believe it's just 4 cards in hand, right? After that result. Or is it 5? I guess 5 because he had back the Rubina. Which is kind of strange. I'm not sure what it really has in hand. It could just be like a bunch of birds. But again, having Rubina in hand as well as Dreamtown, it's like a pretty significant disruption. M-Pen as well. I'm not sure how the Kashtira deck has a good way out it, besides using like I don't know, like their one XYZ Arise Heart seems like the only way. I mean, you could Fenrir, but you do have to wait for them to use an effect. Oh, he does have Evenly, so he's going to go ahead and go on the battle phase. I'm surprised that, I guess, Flunder player just took the bait and let him go through with it. We say main deck Evenly again, like best of one. People are main decking things like Dark Ruler, Evenly, I think I saw a player main deck Swords of Concealing Light as well, because I think that's a really good card against the Kashtiras, because it just Book and Moons your entire board. And I know Shangri-La has the effect to protect itself from being destroyed by card effect or by battle by detaching one of the materials, so that could be the reason why they do play those cards. And there are actually a lot of good cards for the Kashtira deck that are coming out in the next set, Photon Hypernova, which I believe releases just after next year. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Kashtira Birth. So this card, it allows you to normal summon the Kashtiras from your hand without tributing, and then the other effect is you can target one of your banished or engraved Kashtira monsters, special summon it once per turn. So really, really powerful card, actually. Okay, it looks like he's going to normal summon the one of the new ones. It's Kashtira, Scareclaw Kashtira, I believe. This is a extender that allows you to special summon itself from your hand by banishing one Kashtira or Scareclaw card from your hand or graveyard. Obviously, he doesn't want to go negs there because it doesn't have any cards in the graveyard to banish. Doesn't want to really banish from hand, so he's going to go ahead and use Burst to leverage and just normal summon that. The other fact is this card can attack while in face-up defense position, which is kind of cool. Throwback to like the great, what's that card called? Great Shogun or something? Defense Shogun. Total Defense Shogun from the original anime that Joey Wheeler used, which could also attack in defense mode. And then if it does, apply its defense for damage calculation, so it has 2600 defense and 0 attack. So ideally you would attack with it in defense mode. And the effects of any monster that battles your Kashira or Scareclaw monster are negated until the end of the turn. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool way to get rid of Empen. But it does mean his hand is pretty bad, because I would imagine if he had other cards, he would just go ahead and special summon like a Fenrir first. He does have a copy of Papias, which is one of the new spell cards, Kashtira Papias. Target one Kashira monster you control, special summon one Kashira monster with a different attribute from your deck in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon a monster from the extra deck except XYZ monsters for the rest of the turn. So this is an Earth monster, I believe, the Scareclaw Kashtira, so he does have access to Unicorn, which is a wind, but not Fenrir, because that's also an Earth. And then the other effect of Kashtira Papias in the graveyard is, if this card becomes banished, you can target one of your banished Kashtira cards, except Kashtira Papias added to your hand. So it could be really useful. I know that Scareclaw or Kashtira Rise Heart can actually banish from deck, so, you know, obviously being able to banish a copy of this allows you to access any of your banished Kashtira cards, so it doesn't even have to be like monster. It could be the trap, could be another spell card, besides itself, of course. So yeah, we do see a Unicorn being summoned here. Unicorn's effect, obviously super useful, can be able to add any spell card to Kashtira, so another copy of Birth for the follow-up, or another copy of Papias for the next turn. And it's interesting, we're still seeing that... okay, I guess the other player's thinking about maybe firing off his trap here in the closed game state. And I think he's going to go ahead and flip it. Dreaming Town, going to summon the Robina. And basically go full combo here. I'm not really sure if he's going to go for the Wind Barrier statue. It's a possibility. Just to prevent him from going into Shangri-La and then potentially being able to put on a Rise Heart onto the table, which is one of the quick play disruptions. It could detach a material from 3 materials from itself to target one face-up card on the field, banish it face down. It's one of the new XYZs that are coming out. That's also a Macrocosmos on legs. So all cards are banished while it's on the table, which doesn't really matter for Flunder, but for other decks I imagine would. So I would imagine we could also see like an Apex Avian or a Ryza, Mega Ryza, and then bounce back to 2 monsters. I think anything would be better than Empen right now, just because you can play around Empen in defense mode. I think he's going to go ahead and chain the effect of Unicorn to look at his bonus extra deck to banish a card. Not that it really matters in the Flunder matchup, but being able to get rid of some extra deck cards could be really useful. Especially if you start whittling it down, they can't pop for 6 later on in the game. Okay, so we do see a Mega Ryza being added to the hand. I don't know if... I don't think Bear Stat should be that good. I don't think so. It's probably better than Tribute. Again, he does also have Dreaming Town in the graveyard, so he can book it to he can banish it to book all his opponent's monsters as well. But first, we're going to resolve Kashira Unicorn. Take a look at the extra deck. Standard Flunder extra deck. Interesting, he does have the Charmers as well, and Almirage. I guess Almirage is a way to get a Flunder banished in a weird game state. Kashira player thinking about it. I don't, yeah, probably just banish the Lyrisk just for prevent potential Zeus later on in the game, which could be devastating. And now Mega Rise is going to activate on a new chain, being able to target up to 3 cards to return to the hand and or top of the deck. Or and rather. Looks like he's thinking on targets, and he's also potentially deliberating and just activating the trap, but I don't really see a reason to do that when you could just bounce all those 3 cards. Oh, he's going to banish the card in the graveyard as well. Oh, I see. Okay, Mega Rise does have to target a card in the graveyard. I forgot about that. That does make sense. Target Mega Rise's effect again. If you summon this card, should be target 1 card on the field and 1 card in either player's graveyard. Also, you can target. Okay, so 2 cards on the field and then 1 card in the graveyard. So that does make sense. He's gonna book Moon the monsters, and then he's also gonna put back. Okay, he's gonna add back Robina off the effect that was banished. Also gonna put back the evenly matched to the top, so his opponent doesn't get a draw phase next turn, essentially. And now he's gonna go ahead and shuffle his deck because he did search. The Kashtira player opened really bad. He didn't have anything to special summon. Basically, one of the cards that you don't want to draw, which is the Scareclaw Kashtira. I think they only play the 1 copy as an extender. So he does draw for turn, has Robina in hand. Depends on what that face down card is. If it is an Emperor, maybe he could survive. I can't imagine what the players are thinking right now. It's like best of 1, you're super tense. Like, you could just lose based on variance. It's not a great feeling, I would say. I'd rather play 2 out of 3 for sure. And again, these games are taking a long time as well. I imagine the players take extra time to think, knowing that they only have the 1 game, and maybe the judges are more lenient, given that they only play the 1 game. So maybe they are less, you know, quick to give out slow play warnings because of the fact that there's only 1 game, and there's, I believe, the full timer clock for the 1 game, if I'm not mistaken. It could actually be shorter. Maybe it is 30 minutes. I don't know. They don't really have a timer on the clock. See a main deck Raigeki. That's interesting. But again, I guess Flunders do have to board wipe if they're going second in order to take control of the game, so that does make sense. 2 monsters go to the grave. Unicorn is Kashtira Unicorn. I think it's one of the cards that are actually creeping up in price. It's about 15 bucks now. I believe after release it was only like 5 or 6 bucks. Slowly going up in price. I can imagine it goes up even more. So if you guys haven't gotten your unicorns, definitely pick that up because it will go up in price once Kashtira does become a meta contender after the next set, as well as the next ban list. I imagine tier limits will get hit pretty hard because they were previously off the hook for the last ban list. Ronan Totem got nerfed. Oh, Dinamorphia card. Okay, interesting. So he does play Dinamorphias in his Kashtira. This is Dinamorphia Frenzy. It allows you to send 1 Dinamorphia monster from your extra deck and 1 from your deck as fusion material monsters to special summon a fusion Dinamorphia monster from your deck. This can only be activated by paying half of your life points during your opponent's main phase. So, really interesting. He can use this to actually summon out the Dinamorphia. Not her name. Is it Teresia? Ketragina. And then he can use Ketragina's effect, which is quick play effect, to banish a Dinamorphia trap from his graveyard to copy that effect. So he pays half his life points again, goes down to 2,000, and then he's going to be able to summon another fusion monster from his deck, which should be the Dinamorphia Rextrum. And that's the one that prevents your opponent's monsters from activating the effect while your life points, while they have any attack. It prevents the monsters that have attack higher than your life points, higher than or equal to. So anything 2k plus cannot be able to activate its effect. But again, continuous effect still applies, so something like M-Pen will still prevent him from using his own effects of special summon monsters in attack mode. Ketragina obviously at 4,000 attack, but it does lose attack equal to your life points. So it does right now, after he resolves this effect, it will lose 2,000 attack, given that his life points will be down to 2,000 because he paid half for the first activation of the trap, and then he's going to pay another half for the effect of Dinamorphia Kashtira to copy that by banishing it. So now he's going to resolve it again, send another copy of Dinamorphia that he plays. Really interesting, because I guess in this deck you don't normal summon a lot, so after you special summon Fenrir and do all your plays, you can actually normal summon these guys to put up a better board. It gives the deck a little more ceiling, which is kind of cool. Could be potential pickups too. I know these cards are really dirt cheap right now, so they're like a couple of dollars each. Maybe it's a good time to pick these up, because if they do see play, then yeah, these cards could go up in price really fast. Rexterm in the extra deck zone, kind of interesting. Guess it doesn't really matter. I don't think his opponent plays Cerberus or anything. Not that it could be able to activate anyways, but these monsters are floaters as well. I believe when they're destroyed, they can special summon a level 6 or lower Dinamorphia monster from your graveyard, so that includes those fusion monsters, Theresia, and then when Theresia is special summoned, you can set another copy of Dinamorphia Trap from your deck to your spell or trap zone, so you can set another copy. It's basically like a giant loop. These cards could be really tough for the Floowandereeze players to get rid of. I'm not really sure how they could do it without monster effects. Like that Raigeki would have been nice to have, although they are floaters, but even still, getting rid of the Rexterm would be priority number one. Kashtira is actually level 6 as well, so I guess it can actually be special summoned when it is destroyed. So Rexterm would special summon back to Kashtira, and then Kashtira would special summon back to level 4 Dinamorphia. Okay, he's gonna go ahead and use Rubina, chain the effective Eaglin, chain the effective Eaglin. Again, these are tiny birds, so 2,000 life points is not quite enough threshold to prevent their effects from activating, so we can still make some baby bird plays for the time being. But we still have to figure out a way to get rid of these guys, which is pretty hard, actually. I'm kind of curious, especially it looks like he has a grip full of birds. Yeah, we see a toucan, so we know he has another bird in his hand as well. Another 2 birds, Empen and the trap, and the ostrich guy that vanishes from graveyard. Scree. Gonna go ahead and... Oh wow, 2 copies of Mega Rise. That's interesting. I guess maybe it's because he's thinking like if people play Tears and they mill him, losing a Rise could be pretty harsh. But again, it's kind of weird that it would go that route, because I would imagine that it's a brick. Rexterm. Oh, is Rexterm only special summon monsters? No, it's just affects the monsters, so that's weird that he could be able to activate that. Unless I'm missing something. Oh, he Dark Rulered. Okay, never mind. I didn't even see that. And, okay, so the Kashira player does get to survive because of Dark Ruler. And we're going to set the Dreaming Town again, and I think the play is back to the Kashira player, who's going to top deck and evenly matched. I don't know if the Flunder player maybe forgot about that. It might have been a good idea to just leave like a Kashtira on the table. Obviously, Kashtira could be able to crash, I guess, so... Maybe it's better to leave the Rexterm on the table because it had 3k, but then the effect would prevent from activating. Oh, never mind. The Mega Rise allows him to shuffle the deck. Okay, never mind. He shuffled some of them back in the graveyard, so it does control the next draw. See a Unicorn being special summoned. I'm pretty sure once this trap is flipped, the game is just over, because you can't summon Apex Avian or a Bear statue. I guess Bear statue would not be great, but... Okay, he's going to activate the effect at Kashtira Birth. Surprised all this is going through, actually, before the trap is being flipped, but makes sense. Kashtira Birth can special summon back another copy of a Kashtira monster that's in the graveyard, which he has quite a few. I know he has Unicorn and Scareclaw Kashtira, so let's see what else he can do here. But again, I'm surprised that trap wasn't just flipped up to summon. Even like an M-Pen would have prevented that Unicorn's effect from being able to be activated because it was special summoned from the hand, given that he controlled no monsters. So maybe there's something I'm missing here. Because we know the other player has a Rubina. They're going to do that now, okay. Or a Stree, rather. He's going to chain the effect of Unicorn to banish the card from the extra deck. Not that it really matters in this matchup, but any advantage can help. Stree is going to target the Unicorn to banish. Going to be able to normal summon another copy of a bird that he has in hand. And we know he did add the barrier statue from the previous turn, so he does have that in hand, I believe. But Unicorn being a win is kind of nice that it's an out to that. Looks like he just drew the Scareclaw trap, or the Kashtira trap rather, which really doesn't do anything in this situation. Scareclaw. Kashtira. I think, yeah, Kashira Big Bang. It's the one that is basically an evenly matched. If a Kashira XYZ monster is on the table, make both players banish monsters from their field face down so they only control one. And then the more relevant effect is if this card becomes banished, you can target one Kashira XYZ monster you control, add one Kashira monster you control. Add one Kashtira monster you own attached to that monster to your hand, then you can special summon it from hand. So basically when you have like a Shangri-La or an Arise Heart, you can banish this from your deck using like one of your Kashtira effects, and then you can special summon one of the materials that's attached to it, so like a Fenrir or something as an extender. Or again, Arise Heart does banish everything, and then it does attach once per chain, so it can actually attach your opponent's monsters, which can be... oh, never mind. It just summons... It just has to add back a Kashtira monster, so ignore everything I just said. So yeah, it's for summoning Fenrirs and Unicorns. Okay, we're going to see another copy of Unicorn come back off of birth. The statue's going to get slammed over. I think the Flunder player might have misplayed. I thought he had Rubina in hand. He could have just searched Eaglin, right? And then an M-Pen even, or anything. Apex Avian, rather, would be useful. Or maybe he just doesn't play Apex for whatever reason, decided to play 2 copies of Ryza. We're going to see a Shangri-La, so it has 3k defense. Obviously, it also has the effect where if it would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach a monster from it. So detach a material to protect it. And then it does have a plethora of other effects as well. If during each standby phase you can special summon one Kashtira monster from your deck, which is also a really good effect in game states like this. It's essentially like I think the lore is that it's like the home base of the Kashtiras. They're like some kind of moving planet, like a Unicron-like planet. So in the standby phase you can special summon one from deck, which is pretty good. And then each time a card your opponent owns or possesses is banished face down, you can choose one unused main monster zone or spell or trap zone. That monster zone or spell and trap zone cannot be used while this monster is face up on the field. And then the other effect is a protection effect. So really good in the game state like this, I would imagine, where the rises are gone as well. So I'm not really sure how the Flunder player... Well, I guess they could just summon the M-Pen and try and slam over it, because M-Pen can have the attack and defense by banishing a card from your hand. But again, it would protect itself by that battle. So it's kind of a tricky spot for the Floowandereeze player, I think. Not really sure. They have to just use like their extra deck here, but I think the Unicorn was able to get rid of some of those toolbox extra deck cards. So yeah, he's reaching for the extra deck, seeing what options he has. Although I would imagine Relinquished Anima would have been just like a one-card answer, given that it is in the extra deck's monster zone. He's sitting at 2,000 life points as well, so like any attack just is over as soon as he gets rid of this. He's gonna put the M-Pen to defense mode. Looks like we're gonna be turtling a bit. Wow, the Rise is in defense too. Not looking good. Just set another monster. Wow, that unicorn actually put in work, being able to banish some cards. Ooh, and we see an activation of the trap, which is actually really good here because it is a pseudo evenly matched. Again, it's called the Kashtira Big Bang, which if Kashtira XYZ monster is on the field, make both players banish monsters from their field face down so they only control one. So, yeah, we're only going to see, wow, the one face down monster, just the rest of the monsters are getting banished. This is kind of crazy, actually, a comeback from the Kashira player. Obviously, the M-Pen does banish face up because it is banished by its own effect. When it leaves the field, it would be banished instead. Same thing with evenly matched, they do actually get banished face up, which is nice. And again, he does have that spell card, the Kashtira Birth as well, so it will be able to do some damage here, being able to special summon back the monsters that he does detach or has engraved. Gonna special summon a Fenrir in the standby phase. Fenrir's effect is going to activate it and add another copy of Kashtira monster, which he can normal summon because he does have Birth again. So it looks like we're deliberating, but Unicorn might just be the play here, which it is. Add it to the hand, normal summon with the effect of Birth without having to tribute. And because Shangri-La used the effect, we're going to be able to overlay right away into Rise Heart, which is a 3,000, 3,000 XYZ monster. If you use the effect of Shangri-La this turn, you can overlay it using any Kashtira monster you control, and then all cards on the field are banished instead, or all cards from anywhere are banished. It's Macrocosmos. And then you can also quick effect, detach 3 materials from this monster, target 1 face-up card on the field, banish it face down. Pretty crazy, if you ask me, like all these crazy effects. Birth is going to special summon back the Scareclaw Kashtira. A Rise Heart's going to do some damage here, banishing face down. Wow. And I think that's just enough to end the game. And that's... Wow, that was absolutely crazy. I can't believe the Kashira player came back. I think the Floowandereeze player might have misplayed somewhere there. But I don't know. I didn't have perfect information, so it's possible that there's just something I missed. But yeah, either way, that was kind of crazy. Oh, and a Rise Heart can target any card, actually, not face up. So that is absolutely nuts. It's like a better Trident, but yeah, it looks like Kashtira moves on and Floowandereeze is knocked out of the tournament in top 32. If you guys like this video, rate, comment, subscribe. I'm going to do the rest of the tournament as well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.